Okay, light mortisers, all you dusty guys, dusty gals, we're going to light mortise today. These light mortisers you can get off of eBay, anywhere from $300 to $1,700. They're expensive, but if you do enough of these during the year, it'll pay for itself. But in any case, we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about putting in locks. The first thing I want to show you is these bits right here. You can get 3/4, 7/8, 15/16, 1 inch, 1 1/8, 1 1/4. I think 1 1/4 is about as big as they go. So, you know, it's good to have a stock of them. They're quite expensive. These cost me about $30 a piece. And seems like the most ones I ever use is the 1 inch, the 7/8, and the 3/4. So get a few of these, and when you do buy them, if you don't have a place to get them sharpened, you need to kind of figure out a place, because you don't ever hit any nails or anything, but there's always that possibility you could hit a leftover screw or nail or from something that's happened, because these things get damaged. You know, you just have to get a new one if they get torn up too bad. But most of these guys can sharpen them without any problem. Anyway, the next thing is you got these clamps. These clamp in between the door, top and the bottom. And everything we're going to do is we're not actually going to do a door. We're going to actually show you how to. We're actually going to show you how to get ready to do a door. Because one thing you need some templates after you mortise the door. Once you set up, which locks are pretty standard, they're like 36 inches from the floor. And then the first thing you want to do after you get it set up and mortise the doors is then you're going to need a template to cut out for the, well, I'll get everything here in a second. See, this template is used to cut out. See, this will fit in there, and you'll see here in a minute. This fits in there quite snugly, as you can see. And we did this on our table saw and a skill saw. And that's where that hinge mortising bit comes in handy, which we'll be showing you that here in a few minutes. So you got to have one for the lock. I'll think of the word here in a second. The little plate. There we go. All right, and then you got another one. Then you got the next one for the mortise lock itself. You got where the lock goes, and then you got where the handle goes. And then also in this little area right up here, that's for the little thumb latch, or if you decide to use one inside the house. And some of these you can switch from left hand to right hand as long as the strike plate is a generic straight line. If it's not, then you need to get the strike plate that goes with this for the hand door. And speaking of doors, a good rule of thumb to figure out, because you go to these places and they ask you, is it a right hand, is it a left hand door? And so many people get confused. The way to really tell which one it is back up to the door. Put your butt against the door. Which hand will touch the hinge? And if you say, well, I can't see the hinges, you're on the wrong side of the door. Anyway, you're on the side where the hinges are. You put your butt up there. You reach out, you touch a hinge. Are you touching it with your right hand, or are you touching it with your left hand? If you're touching it with your left hand, it's a left hand swing door. If you're touching it with your right hand, it is a right hand door. That's the easiest way I know to tell you. The other way I don't even want to try to tell you because it's going to just confuse you. Do it that way, you'll never go wrong. Of course, you will have some of these people. Well, I'm not even going to get into that. Anyway, here we go. First thing, safety glasses. Always safety glasses. Always remember. Okay, we got the lock. This is going to be our template for the lock. This way, as you can see, it's built up to where this will fit over the door. As I've got right here, this will slide over that, and then we clamp it. We put a clamp on there to hold it in place. So then we can drill. For our lock and for our handle set. Now this is why you're doing a setup like this, because once you get on the door, you want this thing to be perfect. You screw up a $4 piece of wood, that's no problem. You screw up an $800 door, well, don't even want to get into that. Anyway, alright, so you do both sides. You do that side, and then you do the inside. As you can see, I boo-booed a little bit. Went up a little bit too far, so I'll put this tape to remind me that the drill needs to kind of be down low. I got a piece of tape over the inside hole in case, and this is always the in case thing, in case they want to put a double cylinder lock. In other words, they have a lock outside and then a lock inside. This way you've got it, but I just covered up. It's there if I need it. If I don't need it, just a little bit more experience on getting the holes right. Anyway, this will slide on there. We'll clamp this down, drill a hole there, drill a hole here. And once you get your templates done, then you can go do your doors. Alright, and then the next one. Okay, and then your next template, this is the striker that goes on the Jamb. And this is it here. As you can see, same thing, cut a hole. Of course, I go down a table saw and do this. But this is a little more different. This is a little different because once I get my skill saw to cut out the two ends, of course it wipes out this edge. So what you have to do is you have to figure out the distance of where the striker is going to go so that your template, so that you can set this, if I can hold that straight, as far as how far back from the doorstop. And in this case, this is going to sit, this is just an extra piece. This is going to sit right up against the doorstop. Now this is without that vinyl Jamb weather strip that goes in here. So you usually have a kerf area in here where your weather strip goes. This does not have it. This goes right up against there like that. This will get you the right distance. Of course, all this has been figured out beforehand so that everything can be, you know, you do everything like it's supposed to be before you actually start cutting on a door and a Jamb. Alright, now if it does have that kerf weather strip in here, you want to take it out, and that's what this piece here is for. This makes up the difference, which this is cut 3/8 of an inch, which 3/8 would go on top of this, which I'm going to show you, go on top of this to bring this out for the clearance. So we'll get into that in a minute. Okay, what I've done, I've just attached a 2x6 to the side of something that'll hold it steady. And then we want to mark 36 inches. You want to do this just like if it was a regular door. So you want to come in and mark 36 inches from the bottom of the door and put your mark right there. This is a little different because you want to mark the side over here. Bring your mark in, you get your lock, and if the 36 inches goes where your handset goes. In other words, no matter what else you do, how this lock goes, this is usually 36 inches from the center to the bottom of the door. Okay, so this would go here, and the way you do it is you got your 36, you put this part right where that 36 inch line is. Okay, we're on top of the line. Then what you want to do, you want to mark the bottom and you want to mark the top. You want to transfer that mark around to the front. You'll come down here, get rid of that one. Come down here, get your bottom mark, bring it around to the front. Just scribe your line in there. That's where your mortiser is going to take out that area right there. Okay? Now we'll take that out. And then we're going to move along with putting the jigs on there. Okay, as you can see, we've got the mortiser. We got the mortiser clamped on. That's what these handles are for. Got one handle here, one at the bottom. As you can see through here, we got it clamped, both sides. What these do now, these come from the factory. These things are precision set up so that this thing is directly in line with whatever you're cutting, whether it's an 1 3/8 door, 1 3/4, 2 inch, 2 1/4, doesn't matter. Wherever these things line up, your bit, okay, so that your bit, right there where my finger is, so that your bit is in line directly in the center of your door, your board, whatever you're cutting. Okay, we're going to fire this thing up. Oh, and one thing I forgot. And then of course you have the handle. Okay, and then you have the handle that as you turn this thing, this thing goes up and down. The right dimensions. Now I'll show you how to set this thing up when we get through with everything else. Right now we're just going through the steps. I might be going at it backwards, but that's okay. Anyway, let's fire this thing up, get this thing cut. Before we go any farther, another thing I forgot to mention. Before you turn this thing on, this has got to stop right here. And you can put your mortise lock right here. You want to give yourself a little bit of clearance there at the front, right there, and from the back. So usually I give it about 1/4 of an inch. But this